Okay, now in the last class, we learned about the growth analysis comparing piping and Hatlow. And we were able to observe that Hatlow is doing little better compared with piping, considering the growth analysis. So today we will be continuing with the ratio analysis by just making some judgmental reasoning. So Monica, these were the statistics that I was able to calculate it. So gross profit margin is generally gross profit divided by the sales into 100%. Okay, just for your understanding. I just want to make sure. Now, students, if you observe in this case, now for every $1 of sales, they're making a profit of 44.68 cents, they are saying. So if you observe in this case, now 2021, if you see Hatlow is coming very closer. And even if you see 2020, Hatlow is very closer. So can I ask one question from Monica? By observing these numbers, what you can see? Malit, anyone? Yes, Monica.
Hatlow is also growing.
Okay. So Malit, anything that you like to share about in this? Because there are no big differences at the moment. So what can you observe here, Malit? Anyone in the class? Students, anyone in the class? Wholesale tea prices
Price
are stagnant.
getting less. No, sir. The price is getting less. So it
Price
can.
is getting less. No, I can't say that anymore. Now, if you observe the industry, now it is very clearly, students, the Northlandian tea industry. So if you observe the Northlandian tea industry, we can clearly observe one thing. That is, there is an other category. The other category is just an 8%. And if you say piping and Hatlow is the 20%, who are in the 20% range in the market share per revenue. But one thing we can clearly observe is that the premium factor is no more applicable in the market. Are you understanding what I'm saying there, Monica? Because if you observe, there was something called the premium factor. Are you getting the point of view? That means the brand value. But now, do you feel there is anything specifically on the brand value at the moment, Monica? Do you get any understanding there? I don't feel so. Because earlier you could have charged premium for your brand. But now, if you observe, even if you see the competitor who is very closer to you, there is just a marginal difference, not a big difference. Are you observing what I'm saying there, Monica? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So, students, now if you see, I can write down here, since the tea has been a common product at Northlandia, it's a common product at Northlandia. Therefore, the additional revenue on premium, the additional revenue on premium cannot be applicable anymore. Are you clear with that? That is the understanding here, students, because you see, Apple may charge a premium compared with other mobile phones. But in this case, now it's not at all applicable, because I can remember one thing, the tea industry, if you see, at the end of the day, all the tea will remain the same, unless and otherwise you have a high tasting buds. But generally, tea will generally taste a slight difference only. Are you understanding what I'm saying there, Monica? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So one thing I can write down as an indicator, threat of rivalry can increase due to other players. Now remember carefully, rivalry is something they are selling the same product. You understand what I'm saying? Pepsi and Coke is rivalry. Are you understanding what I'm saying, Monica?
Yes,
Pepsi
sir.
is not a substitute to Coke. Now, if I say Sprite is a substitute to Coke, are you understanding what I'm saying there, Monica? Now, if
Yes.
you say tea, the substitute for tea is coffee. But if you observe here, rivalry can increase because of the other players, because that brand stagnation is no more there. Brand stagnation is no more there. If people will not pay an additional premium only for the brand anymore because the market has become saturated. Students, that is the key understanding at the moment here. But one thing, students, 44.45 is again, I can say, premium sector only, because almost coming closer to 50% they charge. But still, the competitor also has a similar value towards that. So, students, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box if you are clear with that gross profit margin calculation and the analysis? The most important thing here is the analysis, students. The most important thing in this case is the analysis. Can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students, if you are clear with that, student? Because the most important thing at the moment is the analysis part. Thank you very much. So students, coming forward to the next one, students, is the operating profit margin. And even if you see the operating profit margin also, students, it's going very closer, just a marginal difference. And if you observe here, Monica, we had an analysis with the growth. We observed that the operating profit margin was generally managed well because the administration cost and the selling and marketing cost has reduced. And I can remember that we were clearly mentioning that the reduction has been mainly due to the digital strategy that is pursued by the company. Are you clear with that, Monica? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
The operating profit margins, the operating profit margins has been maintained based on the changes in the administration cost and the selling and distribution costs. Where there is a fall in the cost mainly due to digitalization, mainly due to digitalization. Students understand that application very clearly because I told you there is a huge digitalization taking place because day by day that sophisticated softwares and then the online marketing and the digital marketing are slowly reducing the distribution and the marketing cost as well. So students, profit for the year also, if you comparatively see, students, now if you see the growth rate compared with our company, if you see, the growth rate is little higher, slightly higher. And here also, if you see, the profit before tax is again a slight growth. So again, I can generally say the profit before tax. So this is the same thing that we have before tax has been the same but marginally increased. Look at the term, what I'm saying, marginally increased, mainly due to mainly due to mainly due to reduction in the interest cost. But if you see, students, that's just a point of view here only. But the other company, there is an increase in interest cost, but still they managed it very well. And profit for the year also, I can generally say there is only a slight growth. There is only a slight change. There is only a slight change in the profit for the year. Profit for the year. Monica, why do you think all these are having a slight difference? What is the rationale behind that? Malit, anyone in the class, why do you think there is only a slight difference? Anyone can say. What is your observation? There is no huge impact. There is only a slight difference in the movements in the numbers. So I'm waiting for your response, students. Can you please tell me why there is a slight change, please? Waiting for your response, students.
Sir, like you told, digital technology.
That is wrong.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Luke.
Maybe because of the market share, their
Or
brand layout.
correct. Because I did a small segmental revenue analysis. Now, there is a segmental revenue analysis if you observe. The geographical segment also, if you see, 93% is on the local market. So, Monica, you get what I'm saying. If you see our organization, they are
Yes.
93% established in the local market, and the export market is only 7%. There is no big changes at all, because export market also they are only targeting the nationals living outside the country. They are not doing any other extra activities to make sure that they attract a new consumer segment, because that is the main thing at the moment. And also one thing, Monica, the tea bag also, if you see, the domination part is the tea bag. And you are clear with that, they're only saying the black tea only. And one thing, Monica, you need to keep in mind that whatever you sell, whatever you trade, at the end of the day, what matters is what the consumers actually want from that. Are you understanding what I'm saying there, Monica? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So students, the main problem with the slide thing is the market is saturated. We can say established. It is known as saturated. Saturated means you do not have any amount to grow. You are not able to grow hereafter. Okay, so I will write down here, students, that point of view for your answer. So a small note here I will just mention. In conclusion, the profits are not increasing. The profit are not increasing mainly because of the market saturation. Mainly because of the market saturation. Meaning the company has only been established in the Northlandia market, and the exports are less. Okay, and also heavily dependent on, and also heavily dependent on heavily dependent on black tea sales. What sales? Black tea sales. Full stop. Now, Monica, based on this, in this application, we can develop some pre-seen triggers, if you think. So, in the examination, can there be international expansion? Can there be international expansion, students? Possible or not possible? You think like a finance manager. Can there be international expansion, students? Possible? High
Yes.
chances. High chances of international expansion. And of course, as you're already knowing, there will be a new product development. Students, for sure, there will be a new product development. And the new product development can be in the form of green tea, hot tea, and the cold coffee, the cold tea as well. So students, if you do not mind, can you please write it down, students? This is very, very important, students, because this is critically assessing your thought process. Because on the exam focus, you need to be very, very careful that there can be an international expansion, a new product development can be there. Students, can you please take it down? There can be a new product development. There is a high chances for international expansion as well. Students, get that point of view very, very clearly. There is high chances for a new product development because market is saturated. And can I ask a question, students? Can there be a threat of a substitute coming inside? Of course, coffee can come into the picture. Okay, coffee can be a substitute for tea. It's a, I can say, a direct substitute. What about juice? Can there be juice also as a substitute? Of course, right? Because fresh juice can be a substitute, not for the morning, can be for the evening. And some people consume fresh juice even in the morning time as well. So students, can you please make sure that you write it down clearly? Can you please make sure that you write it down clearly, students? After you have written it down, you can please put Y in the chat box, students. Thank you. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much on that point of view, because that's very, very important, students, to make sure that you apply your points very well to the situation. Because students, it's very, very important that you apply your points very well to the situation, and very, very important, students, your presence of mind. So Maunika, can we come back to this explanation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry, someone had unmuted. So students, coming to this one, the ROCE, if you observe the ROCE here, students, it shows an indication that the ROCE is better of our organization. But Monica, I say this is not good. I still say this is just a number increase only, but I still prefer the ROCE of the other company is little better. Can someone tell me why this has increased? Can someone tell me, students, why this has increased? What do you think about it, students? Why this has increased? So I can take you to the pre-seen material as well. So students, in the pre-seen material, Monica, can you see the pre-seen material? Is it visible in your screen?
No, sir. No, sir.
Repayment of loan. Now can you see, Monica?
No, no, sir.
Is it possible to see now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you. So students, coming into the application, so one is repayment of loan. I completely agree on that, because students, you see very carefully what has happened here. There is a repayment of 50. Okay. So 50 repayment has been successfully done. So that is correct at the moment. And then students, there is one more thing that you need to observe. There's a dividend payment as well. Now, students, when you pay the dividend, it will reduce your equity balance. So that can be one more reason behind this company to have a reduction. But frankly speaking, students, if you observe, this is a good indicator. Frankly speaking, 17 and 16, if you compare industry-wise, it's good. And even the ROI industry-wise, it's good, students. I can't say anything wrong. And capital better than Hatlo, I can't say that at the moment. I can't say that at the moment, because Monica, we may have old assets as well. Because if you see, our company started in 1852. So there are situations our assets would have been very much old. So if you see the company like Hatlo, they have not given when they have founded. So we can assume that old assets also may contribute towards more revenue, but still the financial statements will show a different aspect. So students, I'll write down here, the ROCE has been quite well compared to the last year. But we need to take into consideration, the payment of the dividends, the payments of the dividends, and the repayment of the loan, because that is very much important, students, at the moment. And again, students, I can say the ROI. The ROI also relatively performed as well as the ROC. So effectively, this is fine. But one thing, students, as I already told you, the international expansion and the new product development can be a very, very important triggers at the moment. So can I quickly get a Y in the chat box from the class, students, if you are fine? Can I quickly get a Y in the chat box if you are fine? Thank you. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Now, one thing, Monica, coming into this, Everyone is having 1.46 time. Do you see here, Monica? It's more. Utilization is almost 100%. Correct? If you see
Yes, sir.
the asset turnover. But students, my calculation I took here as turnover means sales, but I took for the denominator as capital employed. That is, I did not take the non-current asset. I took capital employed. That is the plus equity plus the non-current liabilities. So that was the amount what I took here on the asset turnover. But other than that, students, everything looks fine at the moment. So students, coming now to the application, let's start working here. So Monica, one thing they have clearly mentioned, one factory only, correct? One factory only. Therefore,
Yes.
anyway, the utilization will be high. Makes sense or doesn't make sense? Utilizations will be high. But my question here is when it is overutilized, there can be situations of bottleneck. There can be situation of what? Bottleneck. Students, just remember one thing. There can be situations of bottleneck also in that perspective. So students, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students, if you get that application clearly, students, because there can be a situation of bottleneck as well, and one factory only, students, so be very careful. There can be a situation where you need to do some NPV calculation, and I can just mention here, there is something called asset replacement calculations. There can come, students, okay, NPV. So just be prepared with the application only, students. Again, I'm repeating, it's not about the number of application you have, it's just the point of view. So coming here, students, the gearing ratio, I think it's 34:38. This reduced because we repaid a loan. And even students, after they have taken a loan also, it is 38.29. I can say here, there is a significant dividend paid. I will come to that, students. There is a dividend paid. So when you pay the dividend, again, the capital structure get adjusted, students. When the dividend is generally paid, the capital structure get affected. But students, I want to ask you a question in this gearing aspect. Any questions you have, you can ask me. But I can generally say the borrowing capacity is still higher. Monica, are you clear with this gearing numbers, Monica? Is it fine there, Monica?
Yes, sir.
So I can generally say the borrowing capacity is generally higher, is generally higher. And also, there can be situations, on evaluation of sources of finance, evaluation of sources of finance. So students, any questions you have, you can ask me. So just remember one thing, sources of finance, WACC, everything can come into this picture. And also, if you see the interest cover, I think we are better compared with the other organization. But I can generally say the interest cover seems very much stable, making the company to borrow more and maintain the ratings, because ratings are very important. Maintain the ratings. Students, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box? If you are fine with that, students, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box on the interest coverage as well? Thank you. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Now, students, coming into the current ratios. Now, if you see the current ratio, what has happened here, 1.93, 1.75, 1.44, 1.55. And even if you see the quick ratios also looks fine. So what I can do, I can just merge this together. I can say generally, both the companies has managed to maintain a good current and quick ratio. Now you did think about the 2:1, 1:1. That's correct. But in the industry point of view, students, it's not about that. It's all about the common sense, whether they are eligible to manage it. Of course, they have managed it very well. We don't see any negative indicators at the moment. So coming into the inventory days, 7 days is the inventory days, because as you know, T is a FMCG, students, fast moving consumer good. So I'll write down T. 7 days, the goods are sold out from the warehouse, sold out from the warehouse. Get this point of view very, very well, students, because actually it will go very fast out of the warehouse. Risk of stocks going out of stocks, I don't think so at the moment, because 7 days is the time period, so they have enough number of stocks as well. So coming into the next one, trade receivable days is 40 to 38. The major retailers, now they're selling through major retailers, students. The major retailers would generally request a credit period of 40 days. So generally they are taking around 1 month and 10 days time period for the settlement. So students, there can be situation like online sales. You can have online sales, or another point of view, students, you can start your own retail outlet. Like Cent case study we discussed. So own retail outlet could have been designed, I can say, designed, so that is one point of view. Now the operating cycle is, students, this is the number of days your cash is tied up. And if you observe, you will receive that means your payables, that is 35 days. In other words, the tea suppliers, everything, and also the blenders, the salary. So here we do have 11 days, which is a short period on the working capital. But if you see our competitors, they are managing their working capital very, very well, because they have money within 45 days and they have 1 day extra to pay their trade payables as well. So one thing I can specifically write down here is a basic point here, that is Hatlo has managed the working capital more efficiently than I can specifically say more efficiently than whom, students? That is our company Piping, because they are settling on time. So I can say when these things are done on time, example, you pay your suppliers on time, there can be a situation of good relationship. You will get good quality materials on time, because suppliers, if they don't like a person who is paying on delay, they will always give the second graded item only first. They won't give the first graded item originally. So students, that is one more point for your understanding and application. So please be kind enough to make sure that is also fine there. So students, any questions on that, you can ask me, students. If you're fine with that, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students? Because that is very, very important and essential, students. Just waiting for your response at the moment. If you're fine with that, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box? Thank you. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much on that point of view. So students, now coming into the next one, which is the dividend payout ratio. So if you see the dividend payout ratio 29.39 and 62.43, I'll just take the pre-seen material out. So if you see the pre-seen material, Monica, I believe the pre-seen material is again visible.
Yes, sir.
So if you see the pre-seen material, students, the dividend is 74, and you see the profit for the year is 251.8. So this is how I was able to get the dividend payout. So if you see, our organization has paid a lower dividend, a very lower dividend compared with Hatlo, but Hatlo has paid 62.43% as a dividend. So here there is a huge changeover. Why did our competitor pay more? I can generally say here, Hatlo may be investing in more projects. So they need to attract the shareholders and lenders. Now, if you see lenders wise, they have also paid a good, they have again borrowed, they have borrowed money, 40 million they have borrowed. So if you observe critically, students, that in this case, what we can understand is effectively, it's a very much tough game for both of us, because Hatlo is doing well and we don't know in the examination who will be our new rival. There can be a new rival in the examination for sure. But effectively, what I can observe is, as a summary, that our company is extremely established in the tea bag, extremely established in the Northlandia. So students, this is the critical understanding here, students. They are very much established, they are very much strong, and they are not growing further anymore. So there is high potential for a growth aspect coming forward in the examination. Students, before moving forward, any questions you have, you can ask me, students. If you are fine with this, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students? If you are fine with this, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So students, now I want to take you back to the pre-seen material. So let's do the pre-seen material analysis. So if you observe, Monica, just wanted to make sure that this time or the previous time as well, now they are giving share capital and premium. You see this, Monica, because earlier they generally gave share capital only. You get what I'm saying? So when
Yes,
they
sir.
share capital only, you can easily calculate the ratio, that is the number of shares. But it is share capital plus share premium. We have a specific name for this. This name is known as the stated capital. What capital, students? This is known as the stated capital. Stated capital. Share capital and share premium together, we specifically mention as the stated capital. Now, students coming here, now I have observed one thing, that property, plant and equipment, there is a growth. You can observe it, a slight growth. And if you see intangible asset, there is a growth. Now, students, I want to put a star here for the intangible asset. Now, intangible asset is one of the area that is there in your syllabus as well. And I have already uploaded the videos also, students. Please go through the videos which I have updated in the LMS. So if you see the intangible asset, students, you can clearly observe there is a growth. And we have observed there is one patent we had for the packaging, if I'm not mistaken, the foil packaging, which is a sealed packaging we have for the loose teas. So that is one thing that we have to observe. And one more thing, students, there is no indication of a goodwill. Do you see anywhere an indication of a goodwill in this? I don't think so. But if you see here, they have mentioned piping beverage group. So I cannot say this is a group of enterprise due to acquisition. This may be due to organic growth. Organic growth means you start your own subsidiaries. Now, if you say you acquire a subsidiary, that's a different. And if you start your own subsidiary, that's organic growth. Monica, are you clear with that? Is it fine, Monica? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So students, please be kind enough to go through the notes of IFRS 3, that is the goodwill business combination. And also, I want you to make sure you are also very strong with the IAS 38 as well, which is the intangible asset. And the sister subject of intangible asset is IAS 36, which we say as the impairment loss. What is that? The impairment loss. So these are the basic ideology that you need to be aware about. So students, coming down to the next one, it's the inventory, then you have the trade receivables, then you have the bank. It's normal, and the share capital and the share premiums remains the same. Meaning is they have not gone for any issues of the shares, but in the examination there can be, and the borrowing has slightly dropped, and the trade payable balance and the taxation. So coming forward, the breakdown is given, and they have done the segmental analysis as well. So this is also fine. And then students coming into the extract of Hatlo. So even if you see Hatlo has a 600 million, students observe it very carefully. Here it is 600 million, but our company we had 500 million. Correct, Monica, if I'm not mistaken, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So 600 million, that means the share capital worth is little higher, and maybe due to I can say high market price. Because Monica, did you observe that Hatlo company is growing faster? Yes or no? So when the
Yes.
company is growing faster, there is always a potential that there can be high market price for that organization. Are you clear with that, Monica?
Yes, sir.
Good. And then coming to the consolidated statement of financial position. And again, there is intangible assets coming place. Students, again, just remember, they do have the patents, if I'm not mistaken, on their packaging, and the taste, if I'm not mistaken, the blending process may be patented as well. So just be kind enough to keep that in mind as well. And then the inventory, trade receivable, bank, share capital, and retained earnings, borrowing, they have increased. On the other side, they have not increased as well. So students, now the conclusion of this today is that we need to understand that we can have an expansion opportunity for sure. There is high level chances. There can be a new product development for sure, high level chances. And these are the main two triggers that will be generally being assessed in the examination. So before moving forward, students, any questions you have, you can ask me. So I'll start from Monica. Monica, any questions for the day?
No, sir.
Thank you. Other students, so Malit, any questions?
No, sir.
Ahmed, any questions?
No, sir.
Douglas, any questions? Kin, any questions?
No, thanks, sir.
Luke, any questions?
No, sir.
No questions, sir.
Thank you. Vishnu, any question? I think Sai Divya is Mr. Krishna or someone. Sai Divya, I don't know who is the name. Is it Mr. Krishna or someone? Any questions? Ravi Kumar, thank you. Mahesh, any questions for the day?
No, sir. All are clear.
Thank you. So students, just make sure that you are in line with the business, and just remember North India, we are very strong in North India. Now, since you already know this is a very much easier pre-seen material, don't break your mind by doing so many industry research of countries. Just remember you are in North India. That's more than enough. And you have 93% of revenue coming from this country only. Now, if you see a basic example, Malit, are you there? Malit, can we have a small discussion?
Yes, sir.
Malit, if you see Candace chocolate is similar to this piping business, because you see Candace is very much established only in Sri Lanka, correct? No,
Yes, sir.
Malit. And
Correct,
exports
sir.
are there, but very less. Even Melbourne, Munchie, they are mostly in the local market. Exports are there, but not huge exports. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So thank you, students. So on the Tuesday class, we will do the strategic canvas, and most probably we will start with our question discussion. So I'll see you on the Tuesday class. And for these 2 days, you can just revise the topics, whatever you like. And any questions you have, you can put it in the WhatsApp group or directly message me or use the Google Classroom as well. Anything there, you can talk to me directly, students. Have a wonderful day. And thanks a lot for your time, students. You can leave.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Monica.
Thank you.
Welcome, King.